Room 104. 1. Arrival. Calvin Reese had driven nearly 900 miles without stopping. He was used to long hauls, but this one had worn him down. A misrouted shipment, a broken axle, and a traffic jam outside Reno had all conspired to delay him. By the time he hit the Nevada desert at dusk, the sun was an angry red smear across the horizon, and fatigue clawed at his skull like a drunk with dull fingernails. He spotted the motel just as the last light dipped behind the hills. A flickering neon sign read, "Moonlight Motor Inn, vacancy." It looked like it hadn't been updated since 1975. Calvin parked his rig and walked into the office. The lobby smelled like burnt coffee and lemon-scented disinfectant. A brittle-looking man with yellowed eyes sat behind the desk, reading a copy of Popular Mechanics from 1983. "You want a room?" the man asked without looking up. "Yeah, one night." The man finally glanced at him. "Avoid 104. Everything else is fine." Calvin blinked. "Okay. Any reason why?" The man's voice dropped. "Serious. Air conditioning's busted in all rooms but one. That one's 104. Calvin laughed. "Then I want 104. It's July. I'm not sleeping in an oven." The man paused, then handed him a key on a cracked plastic fob. "It's your skin," he muttered. 2. First night. Room 104 looked perfectly ordinary. Outdated, sure, wood paneling, gold shag carpet, floral bedspread, a humming old box of tea in the window. The rotary phone on the knit stand rang the moment Calvin set his bag down. He stared at it. No one had that number. He picked it up. A woman's voice, soft and static-filled, whispered, "Don't let him in tonight." "What?" Calvin said. "Who is this?" But the line was dead. He checked the cord. It wasn't even plugged in. 3. The stranger. Sleep came in short bursts. Calvin kept waking to noises, shuffling footsteps in the hallway, soft tapping at the window. At 4:47 a.m., he heard someone knock at the door. 4 sharp knocks. He sat up, heart hammering. "Room service," a voice said. "Mail, cheerful." "I didn't order anything," Calvin replied. No response. He got up, looked through the peephole. No one there. He opened the door. Empty hallway. The carpet was wet outside the door, soaked like someone had just stood there dripping. 4. The woman on the phone. The phone rang again at 3:13 a.m. He answered. "Don't open the door again," the woman said. She sounded more urgent this time. "He gets closer every time. If he gets in, you don't leave." "Who the hell are you?" A pause. "Then, I was you. In 1982. I opened the door. Then just static." 5. Something in the mirror. In the bathroom, the mirror didn't reflect correctly. Calvin waved his hand. The image lagged behind by half a second. He looked closer and saw something standing in the reflection behind him. A man in a motel uniform, pale, smiling, wide eyes, teeth to many. Calvin spun around. No one there. He turned back to the mirror.
The reflection still smiled. 6. The truth. At dawn, he ran to the front desk, trembling. The clerk was still there, unmoved. He sipped lukewarm coffee. "I'm checking out," Calvin said. The clerk raised an eyebrow. "You slept in 104. Someone was calling me, talking to me. There was a man. I think he got in." The clerk's expression darkened. "You answered the phone?" Calvin froze. "Never answer that phone," the clerk said. "They tried to warn you, but the warning's part of the trap." He pulled a faded Polaroid from the drawer. It showed a different man, face twisted, in terror, standing in room 104. Last guy who heard her voice thought he made it out. They always think that. 7. The final call. Calvin drove 300 miles before he dared to relax. Morning light filtered through his cab window. Birds chirped. Civilization resumed. Then his rig's radio crackled. Calvin. He's still in the room. He never left. He slammed the brakes. The desert around him shimmered like a dream. In the mirror, he saw the Moonlight Motor Inn behind him, closer than it should be. And in the passenger seat, a motel clerk with yellow eyes and too wide smile whispered, "You never checked out. END. Would you like a sequel or an alternate ending? I can also adapt this into screenplay format or audio script if you're thinking about production."
The Baby Monitor. MIA doesn't notice the lullaby at first. It threads itself through the static like a draft under a door, soft, mechanical, too regular to be human. She's halfway to the nursery before she realizes. The little screen clipped to her pajama. Top is glowing and the song is coming from there, not from Lily's room. She freezes in the hallway, bare feet on cold wood. The melody is tender and old-fashioned, music box slow, as if someone wound a key and set it on the edge of a cradle. Hush, little baby. The words aren't there, but MIA hears them anyway, superimposed from memory. She never sings that one. Her mother did. Back when the hallway outside that bedroom had sagging wallpaper and a smell of bleach. MIA promised herself she'd never hum it, never pass that breath of memory on. Lily, in the video feed, sleeps as though she's been sleeping for hours, mouth parted, one fist clenched like she's still gripping the air she was born into. No music box turns in the corner of the frame. There are no toys that sing, no phones open with playlists, no crib mobiles with pastel animals and tiny speakers. MIA couldn't afford those anyway. She has the monitor, a state-of-the-art digital thing recommended by every blog she doom-scrolled at 3 a.m. while pregnant, encrypted, interference-proof, secure. The lullaby continues. MIA steps into the nursery and the song vanishes. Silence. The heater's low hum. Lily's soft breath. She backs out again, slow, eyes on the crib. And the lullaby returns, blooming inside the monitor, warm and impossible. She turns it down. The song keeps the same volume, as if it knows. The pediatrician says sleep deprivation makes a brain do tricks. The officer on the non-emergency line says old monitors, used to pick up baby monitors across the block, ham radios, truckers, whatever. But the new ones, well, those are supposed to be different. Her friend Kayla suggests that maybe some neighbor has one from the same brand. Same model. Maybe the signal's bleeding through. You share a wall. It's a duplex. Stuff happens. Then why doesn't it stop when I go in the room? Kayla hesitates. Because you want it to stop when you go in the room. That night MIA leaves the monitor on the kitchen counter and sits on the floor in the hall, back against the wall, between Lily's door and the living room, at 2:13 a.m. Like it was waiting for a time slot, the lullaby starts again. It sounds closer, new, something layered under the notes. Breathing. She picks up the parent unit. On the screen, the crib fills the world. The dim shapes of the mobile she never wound. Lily's chest, rising and falling. The camera's infrared casts her daughter in a washed-out glow. Eyes silver if they ever open. The song proceeds without flaw until the melody should have repeated. And then over the tail of the last note, as if a singer is leaning into a microphone after the band has stopped. A whisper. Lily. MIA drops the monitor. The fall pops the back open and the battery skitters across the tile. The music doesn't stop. It simply repositions, as if it was never in the plastic at all but threaded through the air around it. She goes in. The nursery is cold. She didn't turn the heat down, but it feels like she did. In the nightlight circle, Lily is sleeping. And MIA tells herself nothing else matters. Nothing else gets to matter. She scoops the baby up, holds her against her chest until the skin-warmed weight becomes heavy with deep sleep. She rocks, even after Lily's breath has softened into rhythm. The lullaby fades like something embarrassed to be overheard. MIA hums the one her mother didn't sing, the one they taught at the birthing class, all vowels and oceans. She does not remember going back to bed. She dreams of a white room with a single chair and hears herself singing to someone older than a newborn, someone who answers back in her own voice. The monitor logs video by default. She didn't know that until she scrolled the settings, bleary-eyed, at noon. She finds last night's clip and scrubs to the minute the song began. For a heartbeat too long, the screen is blank. No crib, no wall, no room. Just dark. Then, as if someone walked a camera into position and set it down. The nursery resolves. The timestamp never interrupts. The lullaby starts at 2 hours 13 minutes and 1 second. At 2 hours 13 minutes and 8 seconds. A shadow crosses the crib. It is not large. It has the shape of a shoulder and long hair, like hers when she's taken it out of its knot. MIA pauses and frames it forward. Every detail is mush. The infrared washes everything into the same shade of wet concrete. But there, when the shadow leans over, she can see the suggestion of a face. She turns the volume up, knuckle white at the wheel. The lullaby isn't a music box at all. It's a voice. Her voice. Her vowel on baby sits in the back of her throat the way it always does. Something her vocal coach in high school told her to fix and she never did. She is singing a song she promised never to sing. She is singing to her child while she sleeps in bed down the hall. The video ends with her own breath too close to the MIC, an inhale hooked on a sob. That evening, she sets her phone on the nursery dresser, camera angled at the crib. She dusts the floor with baking powder. A trick from a forum for paranoid renters. Footsteps will leave arcs. She locks the window. She wedges a chair under the doorknob, because it makes her feel like she did something, even if the door opens inward and she knows this is stupid. She texts Kayla, "If something happens, come over. Don't call. Just come." Kayla thumbs back half a dozen messages, deletes each one, and finally sends, "Happens like what?" MIA doesn't answer. She sits in the hall again, the parent unit on her knees. A second monitor app open on her phone. Both feeds showing the same still crib, the same sleeping baby. Midnight passes. 1 a.m. She falls into a shallow. Doze like a swimmer putting a face briefly in air. At 2:13, the chair against the nursery door creaks. The sound of weight gently testing it from the inside. The lullaby begins. The monitor's screen shows a hand descend into the frame and stroke Lily's hair. The hand is pale, and in the meat of its thumb is a crescent of scar tissue. MIA got from cutting bagels too fast last week. This hand has it, too, puckered and angry, healing the same way. MIA tries the handle. It doesn't move. The chair she shoved under it pulls toward the door, as if something on the other side is leaning. The wood complains. Lily does not cry. Lily never cries during the song. On the feed her daughter's eyes, silver white in IR, open and focus on the figure over her. MIA has never seen a newborn focus that cleanly. Those eyes look up and to the left, toward where the camera is mounted, toward the future. "Open the door," MIA says, and her voice is small, threadbare. She presses her forehead to the cold paint. "Please, please, please, I won't stop you, just let me see." The song stops. The silence is absolute. Even the heater pauses to listen. The chair slides away with a scrape. The knob turns under her hand, gently, as though returned to her. When she pushes, the hinges sigh. The room is dark. The nightlight is out. She steps inside and the monitor bursts into life. Not in her hand, but from inside the nursery. From the camera itself, spilling the lullaby loud enough to make Lily twitch.